Hello and welcome to Portly Pod. This time we are talking about that global giant of confectionery with the four fingers. It is the humble Kitkat. Kitkat is popular all over the world, but has its origins in York, in England. It was invented by the Rowntree Company in 1935, and this year celebrates its 85th birthday. But it wasn't always called Kitkat. Before the war, it was called Rowntree's Chocolate Crisp, and then Kitkat Chocolate Crisp. And then finally, after the Second World War, the chocolate crisp was dropped and it was just called Kitkat with its familiar red packaging. 17 billion Kitkats are eaten around the world every year. And according to Nestle, the people who own Kitkat now, there are over 200 different flavours. With that said, one thing may confuse people. Not all Kitkats are made by Nestle. For the majority of the world, this is the case. And does include the funky flavours that you find in Japan, like the sake flavour and stuff like that. There is one place, however, that has a completely different recipe, and that place is the USA. This comes from a licensing agreement that was struck between the two companies, Nestle and Hershey's, back in 1970. This gave Hershey the right to make and distribute Kitkat in the US. This agreement was pretty unique. The license for Hershey to make Kitkat was granted in perpetuity by Rowntree. They wanted to break into the US confectionery market, but needed some way of doing it, they were relatively unknown across the pond, that would give them a step up, and Hershey was their answer. As the agreement was still in place in 1988 when Rowntree was acquired by Nestle, the people at Nestle decided to honour the license with one pretty cool clause. If Hershey ever becomes part of a larger company, it must, as per the terms of the agreement, give back its right to Kitkat. This would mean, if Hershey were trying to be bought by a larger company, they would actually be worth a lot less and would have to give up one of their most popular brands. A pretty shrewd move on the part of Nestle, don't you think? This leads on rather nicely to how they taste. Kitkat tastes like Kitkat, doesn't it? Well, it would seem not. When the two Kitkats are compared, this is the original one, I'm not saying you compare a matcha one and a white chocolate one, obviously that is different. But when the two original ones are compared, they do taste different, and this is due to what I said earlier, they have a different recipe. The main ingredient in chocolate is, well, chocolate. In the UK, a product must contain no less than 25% cocoa solids to be considered milk chocolate, which surrounds Kitkat. In the US, however, that milk chocolate must contain no less than 10% chocolate liquor. So UK Kitkat just has more chocolate in it, which makes it taste nicer. Well, that about wraps it up for this time. Have a break. Have a Kitkat.